I've had some people tell me that I'm overreacting because of the Federal Reserve injecting $400 billion into US banks this week, that it's no big deal, you're overreacting, there's nothing to worry about. These are the exact same people who are probably watching cartoons today. Let's talk about some other concerns that are going to affect every one of us here in the United States of America. It's Sunday, September 22nd, 2019. You know, it never ceases to amaze me, the amount of people here in America that are so brain dead and dumbed down. You know, these same people who'd rather party than prepare, the same people who ignore the warning signs, they ignore truth, they ignore the facts, the same people who tell you not to worry, not to be concerned, not to prepare. You should just party away. Don't worry about it. The government's not going to let anything bad happen to you. Nothing bad can happen. These are the same people who are living paycheck to paycheck, the same people with no net worth, the same people who have no emergency fund, the same people who aren't walking close to God, the same people who are comatose to the truth, the same people who are working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet, and still falling behind, acquiring more debt, living on credit cards. These same people tell you not to worry, not to be concerned. Trust the system, trust the financial institutions, trust the government. Life is a party, don't worry about tomorrow. These are the same people today who are probably drinking beer, watching football games, probably playing video games, and watching more cartoons. I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, get prepared. You need to be very concerned with what is happening in this country financially right now. It is going to have dire effects, dire consequences on your life, my life, and the future of America. Big things, big trouble is coming to America, and we are seeing a divide in America. People who are waking up and see exactly what's happening, and people who continue to party their lives away instead of preparing, people who have nothing but debt, no preparations, no security, no hard assets, no survival skills. And these people are going to be living in a nightmare when this collapse hits America. And what's funny is, not really funny, but most of these people's lives financially are already collapsing, yet they can't admit it. We cannot deal with a problem until we admit there's a problem. And we need to be truthful to ourselves that there is massive problems here, especially financially, politically, socially, in America right now. And if we are not truthful with ourselves, we are not going to be able to fix it. And as we continue to deny what's happening, the problems get worse. And these people that want to tell you that we're overreacting, that this is no big deal, that there's nothing to worry about, these people are going to land up really in a massive nightmare because they did not prepare. They did not want to admit there was a problem. They did not want to face their fears. And I'm here to tell you that if we do not start facing the fears, if we do not admit that there's a problem, there's no way you can prepare and get ready for them. Again, as I've said many times, you need to get in a mental mindset for what is coming. It's on its way. It's already beginning. Yet people want to ignore the truth and deny it. And they can deny what's happening all they want, but it is not going to stop this economic tsunami from slamming into America. These videos at times trigger people. And I believe the people that are triggered the most are the people who are most unprepared. People who are unable to accept the truth, to accept the facts. People who are scared of uncertainty. People who are worried about the repercussions of this economy. People who don't want to believe, but know deep in their heart that something is very wrong. But they believe if they hope, or if they disagree with the truth, if they disagree with the facts, that somehow it's going to go away. These people are typically the most triggered. Sometimes the people who are most triggered are the people that just don't understand what's going on, don't understand reality, and don't want to understand it. The people who just want to continue to ignore the warning signs because they don't want their little bubble to pop. These are the people who are most of the time triggered. The people who are prepared, they don't get triggered by this. They know what's going on. The people who are triggered are the most unprepared mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. And if you're one of these people who gets triggered by these videos, please wake up. Please start getting prepared, especially if you have a family. It's easy to write a comment and lash out and, call this, doom, gloom, whatever you want to call it. But it's much harder to look in the mirror and look at yourself and come to the understanding that the truth is the truth, that the reality is we're heading to a financial collapse here in America. It's hard to deal with truth sometimes when it's not what we want to hear. But people who deal with truth and accept it and prepare are going to be the people who survive and prosper, bottom line. So if you want to be a denier, if you want to live in the matrix, if you want to live in an illusion, go ahead. But you're going to wake up one day to a nightmare. And I'm trying to prevent that because I care about every fellow American. And if you lash out and you want to troll, that's fine. That's great. Hopefully one day, if it's not too late, you're going to wake up to the truth. And hopefully it won't be too late for you to prepare and survive what's coming. Let's get into the news here a little bit. Goldman Sachs just issued an ominous warning about stock market chaos in October. Goldman Sachs warns, buckle up as the market is about to go crazy again. It says here, this is on Zero Hedge, we are seeing things we haven't witnessed since the last financial crisis. The Federal Reserve has not intervened in the repo market since 2008. They just did last week. What does that tell you? U.S. manufacturing sector already appears in recession. The current expectation of a recession is 9 points higher than it was in October 2007, just 2 months before the Great Recession. Americans continue to lose confidence in this economy. My good buddy Sid called me the other day. He was running some errands and he went to go drop off some clothes at a thrift store for a donation. And he said he couldn't get a parking spot in the parking lot to drop off the clothes that he wanted to at the thrift store. And he said on his way there, he drove by Gucci, Neiman Marcus, Gucci, Saks Fifth Avenue, and Louis Vuitton, and the stores were ghost towns. And so this is telling us something that we're seeing with our own two eyes. We don't have to read about it. We don't need anybody on the news to tell us about it. When I have people calling me, telling me that Saks Fifth Avenue, Louis Vuitton, and Gucci doesn't have a soul in it, but the thrift store parking lot is so packed he can't even park his car, that should be telling you something right there. Let's go on with another article here. This just came out a few hours ago on Zero Hedge. Listen, guys, make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you're verifying this. Oil to spike after report Saudi Arabia repairs may take up to 8 months. Whoever did this attack on the pipeline in Saudi Arabia, we may never know. But whoever it did, the bottom line is this. Expect to see prices at your pump to go up. This is going to affect the economy. Also, it's going to affect the average Joe Blow. Home flipping sees profits shrink in latest sign housing boom is coming to an end. Home flipping keeps getting less and less profitable, which is another marker that the post-recession housing boom is softening. Some areas have seen a 70% year-over-year increase in house flipping. This has really pushed the market. I believe it's pushed the bubble. Now the profits are starting to pull back a little bit. Not a whole lot yet, but these are the investors. This is the investor base that doesn't have a clue what is coming. And just like back in 2007, when we started seeing major housing crashes, I dealt with people that were buying 3, 4, 5 houses at a time, small investors. And these people got caught with their pants down. They were borrowing money from their mom, their dad, their uncle, their grandparents, their boyfriend, their girlfriend, whoever they could borrow money from to buy multiple houses to try and flip. And it was great while it lasted, but so many people got caught at the wrong possible time and lost everything. And we see the potential of this happening yet again. Another article on Zero Hedge today. This is the most alarming trend in the market. This is very interesting. 1 in 4 luxury New York City apartments remain unsold over the past 5 years. So 25% of the luxury apartments in New York have been on the market for over 5 years. This is also happening in other coastal cities like San Francisco. And what's interesting is that these are the markets that are accustomed to selling condos or apartments months, even years before the construction is even finished. And now inventory is piling up. Prices are either stagnant or coming down. These properties are staying days on market much longer, getting much harder to sell. And as the economy slows down, as the global economy slows down, the foreign money's not coming in here like it once did. Optimism and the outlook of this economy is slipping. And every sector across the board is in big trouble. So, we're now starting to see massive cracks in the real estate market, residential, commercial. And it's only the beginning. Things are about to get much, much worse. How about this? Kaiser Health news today. This was absolutely appalling. Millions of seniors across the country go hungry as we take care of other people. Nearly 8% of Americans 60 years old and older were food insecure in 2017, meaning they didn't have enough food. This is 5.5 million seniors who did not have constant or consistent enough food. 45% of adults 60 years old or older have signed up for federal aid, SNAP, SNAP, also known as food stamps. I mean, how many people now in America are so reliant on government subsidies? When you look at the reliancy on government subsidies and credit cards, it's just absolutely staggering. And we are technically not even in a recession yet. What happens when we're in the bad times? What happens when we are technically in a recession? And what happens when that recession goes to a full-blown depression? Now, of course, so many people out there just think that can't happen. But, reading the numbers to you right now today, how many people 10 or 20 years ago thought we would even be talking about this right now? How many people 20 years ago thought we would be in the situation we are right now financially here in America? Most people probably wouldn't have thought it would be this bad. As more people, let's talk about bank runs, the possibility of bank runs. As more people withdraw cash out of the bank, the probability of default increases, prompting more people to withdraw their deposits. This destabilizes the bank to the point where it runs out of cash. To combat this, the bank may limit how much cash you can withdraw or suspend withdrawals altogether. When we start hearing about how fragile our banking system is right now and how cash strapped it is in this liquidity crisis. And of course, nobody wants to talk about it. But when you start researching it and you start doing some due diligence of how fragile this banking system is, I highly advise that you don't keep too much cash in the bank. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be a bank run tomorrow, but this is very concerning when you have to inject $400 billion into the system, and we're going to continue to inject billions of dollars up to October 11th. And if that doesn't fix it, then what? Do we start injecting $200 billion a day? Do we start injecting $1 trillion a day? I mean, how far does this go before the whole thing just collapses? And how much damage is done by printing up all this money and injecting it? I mean, it's going to continue to devalue the U.S. dollar. And the only reason, as we all know, that the U.S. dollar is the strongest currency in the world right now. It's the world reserve currency, and it's the least sickest dog in the bunch. Countries all over the world are even worse off than we are, so they're coming here because it's the last of the sick bunch. but it's still sick. It's just not dead yet, like so many currencies currently are. So as long as the US dollar still has some breath, as long as it's still breathing, people are going to come here. They're going to run here for safety because there's no other options. That's why you are seeing a run to bonds. You're seeing a run to gold, to silver, because there is so much volatility and uncertainty going on right now. And as people get worried, people start pulling money out of the bank, and this can become epidemic, and this can cause big trouble. And the point I'm making here is you don't want to be the last one trying to get your money out of the bank, because they could suspend withdrawals. They could limit the amount. We've seen this happen in other countries. What about bail-ins? If right now the Federal Reserve is completely broke, okay? They've got less than 200 basis points now to deal with this recession. They're bumping up the balance sheets again as they're printing this money to inject into banks. So as they shrunk the balance sheet, now they're expanding the balance sheet again. So the Fed is broke. The Fed has very little ammunition left, less than 200 basis points now. And we have another cut coming. So how do you think we're going to get out of this mess? What about bail-ins? Do you think that that's a possibility, that if your bank is so desperate that if it's going down, you think they would take the money you deposited? You think they would take your safety deposit boxes, your jewelry, your gold, your silver, and any cash you have in your bank? Of course they are. It's called a bail-in. It's been done before. We saw it happen in Cyprus. And there's a possibility now that we could see bail-ins. We're talking about seeing negative interest rates now in America. Why would you not think that the possibility of a bail-in is impossible? Of course it's possible, because it's 2019 and anything today is possible. The biggest crooks in the world are the Federal Reserve and the banking system. And you continue to trust them by putting your money in there, your safety deposit boxes, your gold, your silver, your diamonds, your assets. We continue to put all this trust in the banking system. And we are here today in the same mess that we were back before the 2008 crisis hit. And I'm here to tell you this one's going to be much worse. We trusted the financial institutions. We trusted the Federal Reserve. We trusted the banks. And here we are today, $22.5 trillion in debt, a banking bailout taking place right now with a $400 billion injection in the past week and more coming. Yet you think that nobody should be overreacting right now. You think that your money is safe in the bank. You think your job is safe. You think your 401k and your pension is safe. You think Social Security is safe. You are living in dreamland. America, please wake up to the threats that we are witnessing taking place right before our very eyes right now. And just think what we don't know, what we haven't seen yet, that we are going to see. Thank you, every one of you. Thank you for watching. God bless every one of you. Please make sure you are praying for this country, and make sure you share this video. Have a good week. Listen, don't get paranoid. Don't get scared. Just continue to prepare. Walk close to God, and continue to prepare. I believe that people who are prepared are going to prosper in the worst of times. And there's nothing that can be done now. There is no turning back. This is coming, and you can either be prepared for it or you can be a victim of it. It's your choice. I choose to prepare. I choose to survive. I don't choose to be a victim. And many people have already chosen that they're going to be a victim of this. Don't be one of them. God bless you. Talk to you very soon.